Hello friend, it's BorasLegend here, and today's time for my controller settings and camera settings tutorial, where I will show you the best settings for you, and also of course show you what I'm using. I will explain every little thing here because some things are not really clear, and how you can take advantage of changing these settings. Right, the first out we have the FIFA trainer, where you should obviously have it on hide unless you are completely new to FIFA and you want to see the basic movements. But you can go on hide, of course, and you can also change it in the game to movement only, which can help you a lot if you play with manual passes, to help you with the direction. But then when you play in competitive game modes like Weekend League, this will unfortunately not work, so I think the best is to just learn to play without having this movement help. And then we have the time finishing, which is very different in FIFA 20. It is much harder to hit green, there's a smaller window, and that is why it's easier for a lot of players to play on off, because you won't really benefit from trying to time the shots. They are good even though you don't time them. But you can benefit if you are good at hitting green to play on. Also, it's a bit of a challenge and it's fun to try to green time the shots. But if you feel that you don't really have the composure sometimes, you're just spamming the shot button, which of course will cause you to accidentally red time the shots, you should be on off. And then we have a second defender switch icon, which was a new feature of last year, which can simply help you to see which is the closest player. So this is the one that if you press L1, the game will switch to this player, and this can help you a lot to know exactly which player is controlled by the AI. But for me that played FIFA for so many years without this icon, it is extremely confusing. And I think that if you get a little bit stressed, you can misconfuse the AI player for your own manual control player, which can cause some chaos in the defense. But yes, this can also help you to use this on if you feel very confident with having two cursors over the player. But for me, I would still prefer to have it on off, because I will always know with the experience which is the closest player, and also with the right stick switching I can still choose myself which player that I want to switch to. And then we have pass block assistance. You have two options, on or off, and it makes no sense to play on off because this will help you, so you should obviously play on unless you are very hardcore and just don't want any help from the AI. But yes, it will benefit you to have this on. And the auto switching, you have three options: airballs, auto, or manual. And auto is very easy, but you can't defend tactically either. It will change for you every time and you won't be able to right stick switch, and no real challenge in the defense and no real depth in the defense. And manual is, well, it's very hardcore, but sometimes it can be a problem with the fast passes, the fast crosses and so on, that you don't really have the time to switch manually and you need something extra to think about. And that is why the best option is airballs and loose balls, where you have to switch by yourself, but when it comes to long balls, crosses and so on, the AI will switch for you. And then we have auto switching move assistance, which is a very interesting thing here, which can help you a lot in the defense. This is one of the settings that makes the biggest difference. I use none, which gives a bit more of structure in a defense. For me, helps you to press also high up in the pitch. But with low, it's easier to defend the through balls, as after you switch players, the AI will keep moving backwards a bit, which can help you to defend these through balls. So why not using high then, is the question. Well, you can try high, but it will be complete anarchy in the defense. They will just run around like crazy and really no structure in the defense. So either you will play on low if you have problems to defend through balls, or on none if you want a bit more structure, if you feel that you have no issues with the through balls but you want to press a bit higher. And then we have the jockey assistance, which is also new in FIFA 20, and here you have either assisted or manual. And jockey is manual no matter what. This is L2 defending, and this will only help you that if you really overdo your movement, if you just go completely wrong, it will help you to slow down and keep close to the player. While if you're on manual, you're completely on your own, so even if you make a mistake, the AI will not help you. And really, I can't see any benefit of using manual, as assisted is still manual, but it will help you every time that you make a mistake. So that is why I think assisted is definitely the best option for the jockey. But yes, jockey will still be completely manual, almost. And then we also have the right stick switching, which is also new for FIFA 20, where you have a player relative or ball relative switch, and this is the default. But if you have problems with the right stick switching, changing to ball relative might help you, as this will always have the ball as a point of reference, where this will of course have your player that you control as the reference. So it depends on the taste, and if you feel that you have problems with the switching, this might help you to try out the ball relative. But I just rock with player because that's what I've been playing for the past 10 years or so. Pass assistance, just assisted, makes no sense to change this. You will have a much harder time to pass the ball around and compete against other players unassisted. Same with through balls, same with the shot assistance. This is all best to have unassisted to maximize the gameplay. And when it comes to crosses, the best would be semi. You can also play on assisted, but you can't really control your cross so much, as your direction will always be assisted to a teammate. You can use some different power if you want to have it on the near or far post, but you have some more options with semi. This has always been the best option for crosses, as you will have your direction assisted, but you have more options when it comes to the power and where you want to aim the cross, depending of course on the power. And then we have a lob pass assistance with manual or assisted as options, and I think that manual is the best if you really can master it. Assisted has a very high error margin, error percentage, more of, while if you really master manual, I think you can have an edge over player that plays on assisted. But if you have a god squad, all players rated over 90, then assisted will be better, as they will almost nail every pass. But if you have a mid-tier team or lower, then I think that this can actually be a nice improvement if you learn to master this type of passing. So that is what I'm using at the moment, manual. And this is just doesn't affect your online gameplay. It's only if you control the keeper, which is not possible online. And then we have unlock sprint, and this is very interesting because here you have on or off. And on is the default, and here you have to press down the sprint button fully to sprint the full speed. But if you just press it down a little bit, he will half sprint the player, and this can be sometimes an issue. It might give you a bigger dimension in the defense to be able to have some different speeds. But then you have the jockey, you have speed jockey. I mean, you already have so many different speeds in the defense that I don't think that you have to add even this analog sprint. I think it's much easier to just play on off. We just pretty much have to touch the sprint button to get the full speed. And that is why I simply use analog sprint off, because it's easier, it's more comfy, and you don't have to worry about that your player won't accelerate to top speed if you maybe don't really, if you are not aware of what you're pressing, and maybe you're just half pressing the sprint button, and your opponent will just get a free chance because your defender will pretty much just jog like a morning run. And we all know how important the pace is in FIFA 20, so that's why I take no risk, just playing here on off. This is just, well, tactical defending is the only option if you play competitive games. If you play online games, legacy defending is super boring, and well, there is a much bigger challenge and skill cap using tactical defending. That is the best option. And then the last one, we have pass receiver lock, which is also new for FIFA 20 in the settings. Late is a default, just like last game. But if you pick early, the pass receiver will be locked early, and this can help if you're playing in a lot of input delay, where I'm playing also in a lot of input delay, but I still like to use late because I want the option to change my mind in the last time. If I see that the opponent is trying to cover my first option, I can just try to do a fast maneuver in the last moment to change receiver. Alright, the time for the controller settings, and I think this is optimized for FIFA. I think you should just leave everything on classic. You can, of course, if you have this pass injury, change your shooting to the cross button and, well, the shooting button to a cross, but otherwise I think there is no need to change anything in the attack. Also in the defense, I see a lot of players changing to the old setting where you have double man pressure on circle. But I think the best thing is to always have your thumb free, so I'm just gonna show you here. So if you are double man pressing with the circle, you will always have this occupied in the defense, where if you have double man pressure on R1, you can have your thumb free here. But then you might wonder, how can I sprint at the same time if I don't use 2 fingers at the back? If I only have 1 index finger, you have to use this kind of grip where you simply just bend your finger a little bit to get both the sprint and the press button at the same time for the secondary man press, the teammate contain, as it says here. And that is also why analog sprint on off is important if you're using this type of technique, that I think is the best, because you don't have to fully press down your sprint button. You can just touch it and you will have the full speed of the player, where you can have your thumb free here for the switching and so on. So this is, in my opinion, the best option for the controller settings. Then you can also see some game settings. You can go to visual and change to player name and indicator to see the player name, which I think is the best option. Also looks very great, and you can also always know who you are controlling, because some players look similar on the pitch and you will know if it's let's say a right-footed or left-footed player, if there are two that has a very similar visual appearance. And also here you can go to scrolling lineups and make sure to turn this off, because this is very annoying and can actually disturb you in the game. And last but not least, we have the camera settings, where you have well, some main options. There is a default, which I think is not the best. I'm seeing a lot of players using this, but you don't really have the best overview, I think. You have also classic, which is used by some players, which gives you a really great intimacy to the pitch, and this is good if you are a very technical player to use this option. And then you also have co-op, which is maybe, well, if you are a possession player, you like to hold the ball, you'll always like to see the options on the pitch, then this is the best option. But also I think the best of them all is a telebroadcast, because this really gives you a mix of these both. You get the overview, but you also get the intimacy with the pitch, and you can play with well, a lot of different styles. And you can leave this also on default, but if you want some better overlook, you can also go to customize and have the zoom on 0. But I'm just using it on default with telebroadcast. Alright guys, that is it for today. I hope you appreciated this in-depth controller and the camera tutorial. And if you did so, make sure to drop a like. We're gonna have some more videos, of course, coming this week, so stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, you know, until next time.